The title of our talk for this morning is Creativity, Secret of Divine Love. And the tarot key is, as you see, tarot key number 3, the Empress, assigned to the Hebrew letter Dalet, which means door, amongst many of its other meanings. That is the specific. Along with the meaning of door that is involved with the letter here, we also have the pair of opposites assigned to this particular key, the pair of opposites being wisdom and folly. And I'd like you to note on the kabbalistic tree of life that the path of Dalet, the Empress, connects wisdom, the divine father aspect or sphere of activity of the tree of life, to understanding, the divine mother aspect on the tree of life with its activity. So that we have here in the Empress and its pair of opposites called wisdom and folly, we have here that which is the combining, that which is the union between Yod-He, Vav-He, the father, and Elohim, the mother. And indeed, in Genesis, you will recall, it is Yod-He, Vav-He, Elohim that said, "Let us make man in our image." And we have here, in the Empress, the symbolic representation of what is involved in imaging, what is involved in imaging or in duplicating of the likeness. We have then creativity, true creativity. And of course what I want us to see is that it is the secret of divine love, if we have not yet seen it. And if we have, I want us to experience it. And if we've already experienced it, I want us to experience it more deeply. So we all have something to receive if we can attune ourselves together more intimately into the principles of this key. Now, when Yod-He, Vav-He, Elohim said, "Let us make man," which remember he said, "Let us make man," which is let us make Adam or generic humanity in our image. We have here the declaration of a principle started right in Genesis, which was not true once upon a time, nor will it just become true someday. It is a complete statement of the way creativity takes place. Now, this is a statement of the way creativity takes place, not just once when the world got started or the firmament was separated from the firmament, nor something we can hope for or look forward to. We have here one of the most profound secret of secrets given very completely and openly, if we only knew how to comprehend it in its fullness. Because as we know by now, creativity, all creativity, takes place via consciousness. Consciousness is certainly known to be the causative factor for anything and everything. And certainly by now we all know, we all should be understanding, realizing that everything that we call physical, everything we think of as being material, everything that we experience as being solid, is still exactly what we've just been talking about. Not only just the result of this process of creativity taking place via consciousness, but actually is one of the ways in which consciousness presents to itself the image and likeness of its creative processes, or self-duplications. But I'm just trying to point out to you that when in Kabbalah we say to you, everything that exists, including that which we experience as physical, material, solid, everything that exists is really consciousness and the result of consciousness. Furthermore, remember, Yod He Vav He Elohim, which is Father, Mother, God, said, let us make man in our image. So we can also go on to say that everything we see and experience is a self-duplication or replication. So when we come then to think of ourselves in man, let us make man, we have an indication that whatever it is we are experience, or whatever portion, or whatever appears limited, certainly whatever it is we experience as physical, it apparently is self-duplication, since our image and likeness has to do with exactly that, self-duplication. We know that out of the single cell of a female and the single cell of a male, let them get together, like here on the Tree of Life, you notice via the path of the Empress, Daleth, which means the door, we have the Cosmic Father, wisdom, and the Cosmic Mother, understanding, getting together. There they are, the sign of union. And indeed, if you'll notice the path coming down the middle from the crown to beauty, the High Priestess, that's the one we took up the last Sunday, my Sunday, which was the second Sunday of the month. You notice that was the previous tarot key number 2, which is assigned to subconsciousness, and more so to the full principle of subconsciousness. And I would like to remind you that that also is called the path of unity. Unity. So that the Empress, or the door, or creativity, crosses the path of unity, again, telling us kabbalistically. And remember, only when we know it kabbalistically do we know it at all, since the Bible is written by the trained adepts, prophets, masters of Kabbalah. We can see then that unity has to do with creativity. Furthermore, it's the unity of the masculine, feminine principles or aspects that self-duplicates itself. So when you have the masculine and the feminine principles or aspects that self-duplicates itself. So when you have the masculine and the feminine principle coming together in unity, what you have then is the receiving into subconsciousness, which is symbolized by the High Priestess through its unity. But then what happens? That's when the Empress comes into action. Because the Empress is the development of that seed. And how does it develop? Via self-duplication and multiplication. Because from these two cells, we do have the representation of self-duplication. So even here on the entire Tree of Life, we're being told that the one, the only, the Lord of the universe, the indivisible, the one divine will, the one creator with a capital C, is as that which we think of as being the kingdom, Malkuth, the physical universe, but in a different way. And what is it that is different? It is the way we experience the reality. All right, now let's look at some more of these symbols here on the Empress so that we together can understand its use and see better what is meant by gift of divine love, because we want to be able to see our creativity as the gift of divine love, which it is. So here with the Empress, we have this crown, the crown of 12 stars that's being worn. Remember, that stands for the 12 signs of the zodiac. The 12 signs of the zodiac are one of the things that are involved here in this imaging, and it has to do with the fact we're being told that our image-making powers are absolutely limitless. The entire universe is at our command, basically, when we image properly. But remember, we have to image as God images, or learn how to image. In the image and likeness of God we were made, and we're learning how to image so that God can have the perfect creative experiences in and through us, or those specialized aspects of us. So here we have the entire universe, really, as our crown. And you notice the heart. Here we have the indication of love, and incidentally, even the dove is a symbol of love, because although the dove literally in one sense means peace and the Holy Spirit, the dove is also the bird of Venus, and Venus in itself is symbol for love, and Venus is assigned to this tarot key. So we have in this heart, which is of the metal brass, we have here another secret of positive creativity in order to be able to recognize and experience the divine love as being behind it. And what is involved basically? Well, in essence, when we train ourselves to see these powers to image, to be aware, as being the gifts of God, and actually being developed for God, this is the only way we really develop an ability to be with the divine will. What we do is recognize the fact then that one of the first and most important things we have to do is to improve our love nature. Because you see, we cannot create and experience environment that is full of loving fulfillment unless we have a love nature that is able to make proper images in harmony with divine love. How could we? Now then, with lovingness, nothing at all that we work on for creating is going to have any value. It's going to all turn to dust and ashes unless it is based on love. On love. If you have very deep and very intense desires for material things, by all means concentrate on it and get it and discover how the moths and rust corrupt it and suffer the consequences, and then do it fast. I want you to please go and don't play with it. Go ahead and get it over with. Then you'll come back and really be ready to put your attention on what matters continuously, consistently, the sort of thing that cannot be corrupted. And the dominion of that staff is a very important thing to understand. Also, please note the bench she sits on is very fancy. It's, the high priestess sits on a very plain cube, but the Empress sits on a bench that has curlicues and tassels and, all sorts of decorations, which in itself is an indication that creative imagination, yours and mine, we are the way the Lord of the universe puts extra decoration into life's experience, and that's part of our function. In fact, it's part of our responsibility to life. Now, the waters there, you notice the waters coming down. Now, those are the same waters that started from the High Priestess's robe. In other words, from subconsciousness, which has been impregnated by the attention of self-consciousness, the magician, comes, you see this pool and the ripples. And again, that's showing us the moon and the powers of subconsciousness. And you notice that the Empress has the moon at her feet. Now, there are two important meanings here. Number one, subconsciousness is the foundation for everything we create, for the whole door of life. Well, this by now we certainly must know. But there's another reason for it being at the feet. It's because she has subconsciousness under control. You are being shown creativity in its positive sense. If you were shown pictures of creativity in its negative sense, you couldn't bear it. You would have, and besides, that would be a very terrible suggestion. In tarot, every principle of your consciousness is being shown you in its positive sense so that you can grab every tarot key as you need to once you've been studying it and learn how to help you keep yourself from being pulled into warped imaging, to help you keep yourself from being pulled into hate imaging, to help you keep yourself from being pulled into wastefulness. So everything must be placed in its proper areas in our consciousness and utilized. The gift of life is the gift of attention, the power of consciousness to pay attention. And what we pay attention to is what we plant in subconsciousness. So my darlings, if you want to really know divine love, and incidentally you have the love of the divine, but if you don't know it, what good is it to you at the moment? You see, you're not utilizing it. If you want to consciously really know the divine love, and consciously see the miracle of this guidance that you really have, whether you know it or not, what must be done is to utilize the magic of this, what this key is showing you. It is giving you this magic. And that means we have to make a pact with ourselves, a dedication, if you will, with ourselves, with the deepest part of ourselves, to watch our imaging. You know, that is the point of control. You know, no matter what your problems are, no matter what your problems have been, no matter how many hells you are in or hells you have been in, it is not necessary to stay in any one of them, not at all. It is at the point of imaging that we start making the changes. We are children learning how to manifest beauty. It is true there are things come from the mass consciousness that are part of our lot as part of the total group, which become a part of our lives at times. But that doesn't have to, when we understand these principles, that doesn't pull us down. Because I'll tell you, my loves, and the truth of the matter is, the attainment of the grade that actually involves where the path of this Empress crosses has to do with attaining the kind of consciousness where what the world calls sacrifice, the adept and the master call their good pleasure. The point is, imagination is the gift of divine love, because with your ability to image, you can bring about the most complete fulfillment, but knowing how to image is what really involves the most complete wisdom. And that means knowing how to interpret what's here, how to reason with it. What I want you to try to hold in your heart more than anything is this. Dear God, I thank you. I'm a winner. Your love for me is manifest. I have this fantastic, extraordinary, miraculous ability and capacity to image. I dedicate myself to keep my imaging in harmony with love and lovingness, and to search out the knowledge and the wisdom that is your gift of life to me in everything I see around me. To look for and experience the beauty. To look at the beauty of the tree when I'm walking on the street instead of growling at the ugliness of the post. To look at the beauty of a person's eyes or nose instead of what I might think is the ugliness of their mouth or words. To look at the beauty of the sky and the rain, and to say, this is God's tender washings. To say, not this is a gray day, this is a silver day. Think on these things. Divine love is creativity.